This week we are visiting the largest city in Texas, Houston, and it is also the 4th largest city in all of the United States, and it is absolutely massive. So massive, in fact, that there are actually multiple skylines. So driving into the city, it's kind of like, which way is downtown?
We were actually a little bit confused because we are now in the Uptown Galleria area, which has its own massive buildings and sort of a skyline, and I had to look it up to find out why downtown was in one direction and we were headed towards massive buildings in another. And suffice it to say, the internet says that to be safe, you could say the city has not 1, not 2, but 3 skylines. If you've ever been here, let us know if you were similarly confused. And if you're from Houston, let us know if you've ever gotten a laugh out of people like us who are not from the area and how many skylines you actually think Houston has. This amazing thing behind us here is the Gerald D. Hines Waterwall. And I had no clue that something this cool existed. You know, we love being outside in nature, going hiking, seeing waterfalls, and so this is waterfall in the city. This is 64 feet tall, semicircular, and water doesn't just come down the front side, it's also along the back side, which I didn't know until we were circling around and looking for parking.
Yeah, and if that's not enough, there's a great big green space to come out here and play, and on top of that, there is a 900-foot tall building right behind us.
Keep going, keep going. There's the top.
Let's go check out this waterfall.
If you come to visit, don't forget to walk around the backside of the waterfall too. Most of the crowd just stays in the intersection with everyone waiting to get a chance to take pictures. The backside is also really pretty and it's easier to linger here and take it all in.
I'm not sure if you can tell how fogged up my glasses are from that, but there's a lot of spray in there.
Probably as fogged up and wet as the camera lens itself is. Let's clean you off here a little bit.
Well, now that we can see again, I would say that that was probably one of the neatest sculptures I've ever seen in a city. Who would have thought that there's such a thing as an urban waterfall?
Yeah, that is really, really cool. It's a great place to get videos, to get pictures. There are, as you saw, a lot of other people in there doing exactly what we were. We got way more cold and wet than we expected, although considering the kind of muddy patches in front of this water wall, I should have known.
Next, we're headed over to Post to get some food and check out a really cool rooftop Christmas lights display. We are now at Post. We are up on the roof at a place called Skylawn. This actually used to be the postal headquarters for the city.
It's amazing what they have done with it since that time. Now it is a hub of culture and workspaces and food and drink and this amazing place on the rooftop called Skylawn. It is a 5-acre park and it has places to sit and eat, to hang out, to look at this amazing view of the skyline. Because it's the holidays, they have it lit up with about 100,000 or so lights. They have this massive Christmas tree and it is just so beautiful. They even have a music hall here in the building. And there is a place called Post Market in the building with a bunch of food. So we are gonna enjoy this view and then grab some grub and have a nice dinner up here. The market has a whole host of stuff. The kids and I got food from Johnny Good Burger because I'd heard good things about their burgers. So here is mine. It's not your traditional burger bun, but it's got like brisket going on in here. I don't know how much of that you're gonna see with some special sauce. Ooh, that's kind of like a bright orange. That smells amazing. It smells all buttery and toasted. I can't wait to bite into that. I'm gonna keep it closed for a minute to tell you that Kevin got tacos. So we went to Taco Fuego, I think, Tacos Fuegos, and got queso birria tacos that we showed you in Austin when we went to the food trucks, and you dip it in the consomme, and they have the same thing here, just a different, you know, little bit of spin on it maybe. So we'll have to see what Kevin thinks and how he thinks they compare. This is definitely really good. I like that it's on the Texas toast here, and the fact that it's brisket and chuck together makes it really juicy and tender, and the sauce, whatever that is on there, I think really makes it so good.
So very much like those tacos we had in Austin, dip it in the soup. These are really, really good. There's a lot of cilantro on these, which I really like. If I had to choose, I'd say the ones in Austin were a little bit better. But it is getting cold out here, so we're gonna finish up our food while it's still hot and do some more tomorrow. We've driven in this evening just for one special thing to do today. It's something that we tried to do in Austin, but it didn't work out. We're excited to come and see it here today in Houston.
We're at the Waugh Drive Bridge, and here is the Waugh Drive Bat Colony. So in Austin, the bat colony there is massively huge, 1.5 million, and we didn't see a single one.
It was too cold.
So go back and watch that video if you want to see that and get tips on where to go to watch those bats in warmer seasons when you'll have better luck. But here it is like 70 degrees still or so tonight. It's been cold leading up to this point for like a week at least. So we think there's a good chance that the remaining bats here are going to fly tonight. And if you see all the people behind us, including I think a news crew and other cameras, I think other people think there's a pretty good opportunity to see the bats tonight too. There's a 250,000 strong colony of bats here.
Let's go see what we see.
We have run into something really special here tonight that we had not expected at all. It's just a coincidence that we stumbled upon it and came here the same night that this was happening. So we mentioned earlier that we had this hard freeze, that it was super cold here in Houston the last week. Here they had hundreds of bats that were in shock from that cold weather, and they fell from the bridge, and they had amazing volunteers that came and picked them up and rescued them and then put them in an incubator for the last multiple days and released them here tonight. So that is what all the commotion, the craziness, the video cameras and everything was all about. And we just feel really lucky that we were part of that and that we got to see it. And some more bats might still fly tonight, so we're gonna stay and watch for that. But it was the Houston Humane Society's Texas Wildlife Rehabilitation Coalition Center that was responsible for the rescue and the rehabilitation and the release of those bats.
Well, once again, I don't think the bats are gonna fly tonight, unfortunately, but we still got quite the show. That was really cool. They released 600 bats, and so we at least got to see that many flying around.
Yeah, with Kevin down below, he got to see a different angle than I did, heard more of what they were talking. They had a megaphone, but it wasn't working, so I didn't hear a thing up here. But it was really neat that I got to talk to one of the folks that works with the Humane Society as she was walking around, and that's how I figured out what was going on in the first place. But we have more to see in the city, and the kids are pretty pumped about the next thing we're gonna do on another day, which is the zoo.
The Houston Zoo is located in the middle of Herman Park. This urban park sits on 445 acres, has an outdoor theater, the zoo and Houston's Museum of Natural Science, free parking, and is just a beautiful place to go for a walk or to spend the day. There's also a 14-minute train ride that takes you all around the park and is loads of fun for kids.
The Houston Zoo is the second most visited zoo in the US, and it just celebrated its 100th birthday. Home to over 6,000 animals, this 55-acre zoo ranks as one of the top 10 zoos in the country, and it's definitely the kind of place where you could easily spend an entire day taking it all in.
This might be the most elephants we've ever seen anywhere all at once. This might be one of our favorite elephant exhibits in any zoo we've been to as well. There are just so many of them. We've seen them throwing dirt, we've seen them splashing water, laying down, walking around, and they have these little ones, and they're so cute. This has been really good.
Any trip to the zoo is complete until you've seen the lions. Now we've seen lions and elephants and a whole bunch of different animals. And tomorrow we finish off our trip to Houston with our grand finale. For our last thing we're gonna see in the Houston area, we went down to the Houston Space Center. And it is fantastic looking. Right as you drive up, you've got like a space shuttle on top of a plane, a big SpaceX rocket. We're pretty excited to go see this place, and it is huge.
So let's head inside. It is as early in the morning as we could make it here. So we want to see as much as possible. Let's go.
The Houston Space Center is the official visitor center for NASA's Johnson Space Center. This 250,000 square foot museum has exhibits on the International Space Station, the moon, rockets and rocket engines, Mars, all sorts of space history, and artifacts from the early space missions. Everything is incredibly fascinating, but the best exhibits aren't located inside the museum. For those, you have to sign up for a free tour and tram ride out to some other parts of the Johnson Space Center.
The easiest way to sign up is with the Houston Space Center app. If you want to see it all in one day, make sure you sign up for one of the tram tours as soon as you get there. There can be a little bit of a wait for each tour, and you can check out the exhibits inside the museum while you wait.
We opted to take the furthest tour first. It took us out past another site that we'd see a little later in the day, and all the way out to the historic Apollo Mission Control Room. It was here that NASA monitored 9 Gemini missions and all of the Apollo missions, and the room is restored to exactly how it was during Apollo 11, when astronauts first set foot on the moon.
Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now. Neil, we can see you coming. You can take a 10-second look. You just stepped on a lower path. Okay. Okay, I just checked. Getting back up to that first step. That hasn't collapsed too far, but it's adequate to get back up. Dear men from the planet Earth, first set foot upon the moon, July 1969, AD. It came in peace with all mankind. It has the crew members' signatures and the signature of the President of the United States.
We had to go up multiple flights of stairs to get to the Apollo Mission Control Center room. So now we're going back down, and because we were near the back of the room, it took a while for us to get our videos and selfies. So we're the only ones coming down the stairs now, though there are a few people behind us. So we have to make our way back down to the tram, but that was really cool. Even though it was a recreation of the Apollo Mission Control Room, highly accurate, of course, and just seeing the reenactment of that mission and the landing and the first steps on the moon got me all emotional. So cool. Now we're gonna head back, and there's gonna be another tram tour that we're gonna try to get on.
The next tram started with the Astronaut Training Facility Tour. Here we visited the Space Vehicle Mock-Up Facility where they have training modules for the International Space Station. There's also an Orion capsule for upcoming moon missions, as well as rover prototypes and robotics projects.
On the way back, the same tour drops you off at Rocket Park, which might have been one of the most impressive exhibits in the whole place. Outside the main exhibit hall is an early test rocket, as well as several rocket engines. And a Redstone rocket, the type that carried the first American astronaut on a suborbital flight into space. A word of caution here, these rockets are huge and you might find yourself stepping back into the grass to get some good pictures, but be careful where you step. I just got bit by a bunch of little red ants. I think I've finally gotten them all off my shoes and my socks. Careful if you go in the grass here to get a better view and pictures of the rockets, because there are ants there. And in fact, they're here on the concrete too. They're crawling all up in this bench. But I was like, something is itching, something biting me. What is that? And they were all over my feet, both of my feet. And then I was like, run. So just be careful. Maybe don't stand still in one spot for too long. I didn't actually see them in the grass, but all of a sudden they were there, so word of warning.
The main attraction at Rocket Park is the Saturn V exhibit hall. Inside is the 363-foot tall rocket that carried astronauts to the moon. Of all the amazing things we saw at the Houston Space Center, this was my personal favorite. The moment you open the door, the massive size of this rocket really hits you. There are only 3 of these left in existence, and this is the only one of those that was intended for spaceflight. Leave a comment if you know where the other 2 are, because we visited those in a future video. This is absolutely incredible. It's really hard to get the entire size of this big Saturn V all at once. You get to walk the entire length of it and see just how big this thing really is. It's amazing.
Right. Yeah, the scale of it just walking in the door. She's ready for us to keep walking.
Yes.
So let's go.
Back at the main building, we stopped by the cafeteria. Much of it was already closed at this point in the day, but if you're looking for lunch while you're here, this is the place to be. They also have a nice outdoor seating area.
After we refueled ourselves, we quickly headed through a couple more exhibits to our last stop at the Space Center. Independence Plaza is right outside the main museum. This is where you can see the Space Shuttle Independence mounted on top of the modified Boeing 747 that carried it from place to place. Both the Space Shuttle and the plane are exhibits that you can walk through.
Just past the space shuttle is a Falcon 9 rocket from SpaceX. Though it's smaller than some of the other things we'd seen today, how can you not love a rocket that lands itself? We had been following and watching a lot of the SpaceX rocket launches with the kids, so this was especially fascinating for our kids and really brought it to life for them. This particular rocket is now a museum piece because it marks the first rocket ever to be reflown by NASA.
We have closed the place down. There is literally a guard escorting us and a bunch of other people out the exit.
We were here practically when the place opened, and now the place is shutting down, and it was truly not enough time. I felt like the entire day was go, go, go from one thing to the next, and it was all so fun and amazing, and we didn't realize how wiped out we truly were until just this moment. But really, come for a full day, come for multiple days if you can. There's so much to see. In fact, that can be said of the Houston area in general. We didn't get to see, but scratching the surface of this place. Houston was so much fun. We're so glad we saw it. If there's anything else you think that we should see if we ever come back, or for anybody else, leave it in the comments below. We'll see you on the next adventure.
Bye.